welcome to another Ultimate Fighter episode review. This is for Season 29, Episode 6, titled Let the Games Begin. So this one was the fight between Daniel Argueta of Team Ortega versus Ricky Turcios of Team Volkanovski. So yeah, I'm gonna go through it bit by bit, tell you what I can remember, or do have a bunch of notes to help me. So yeah, let's run the room and see where we get to. So we don't really have a lot of fallout from the last fight, which was obviously Team Volkanovski's first win. We do have like a brief training thing with fighter for this episode, Ricky Turcios, and during sort of backstage, not backstage interview, during an interview thing with Volkanovski, he does say he's happy that his team finally got their first win this season. It does go into a thing after that though. While Team Volkanovski is training at the TUF gym, Team Ortega goes over to where Volkanovski's, some of Team Volkanovski's vehicles are, and they remove the tyres and jack the cars up. And they leave them a couple of donkeys for them to get home. It is actually kind of hilarious. However, it is also probably my least favourite part of the episode because nothing else really comes out of it. Not in this episode. I would like to see if they do sort of improve on that in the next one. Like, I want to see if Volkanovski can try to get it back. But I do like the fact that Volkanovski wasn't even mad. He was laughing his ass off. He really liked the prank, and him and Ortega were really joking around about it. There wasn't any bad blood between them. Ironic, since they're supposed to fight, and I'm pretty sure, you know, there's going to be a title. They don't really hate each other, which is nice. And Volkanovski was like, yeah, it was a good prank. It got him, and it made him laugh. And he does say he will get Team Ortega back. Maybe they'll do it in the next episode. I don't know. I don't watch the teasers for the episodes anymore because I want to go in a bit blinder. So I'm a bit more surprised. However, I did think I'd bring this up because there's not much else to talk about besides this, so we're just going to get into the other usual bits that I've been doing for this season in particular. We do have the backgrounds and preps for the fighters. Ricky Turcios, both Ricky and Dan, by the way, are 27, but Turcios has twice as many fights as Dan does, and he's got more of a freestyle, sort of wild, unorthodox, awkward sort of style to him, Ricky does. And he does intend to use that quite well. He's got a really exciting style, he's quite a scrappy dude, and he's also just a genuinely nice bloke, even as his opponent says. Like, Dan says he likes Ricky, I like Ricky too. Ricky is just a really cool dude. I don't know, he's just got a really nice personality, and very excitable. You know, you don't really get that a lot in the UFC, especially with some younger fighters who I think take it too seriously, so to see Ricky having a lot of fun with it was really cool. His background is he is from Houston, Texas. He does have Filipino parents, I believe, so he is sort of from the Philippines. And Dan as well is a bit Hispanic as well because his parents, his dad is from Guatemala. Yeah, it is Guatemala. I almost said Guantanamo, it's Guatemala. And so that is sort of a unique thing that they both have going for them. They're both sort of second-generation immigrants, I guess you could say. But yeah, Dan's style is a lot more straightforward and a lot more wrestling-focused than Ricky's is. And he does focus a lot on, especially on his striking. And there is one thing I want to bring up quickly before I get to the fight itself, because, yeah, there isn't really a lot to talk about besides that, but something I've noticed that Team Ortega has been doing, that Team Volkanovski has not done, is that when Team Ortega is training at the Apex Center, Brian and his coaches will take their fighter into, like, their dressing room, or, like, their sort of warm-up room, whatever the hell you want to call it. They will sit their fighter down for that episode, and they'll ask them what they think they're going to need to improve on and things like that. And it does come up with an interesting thing for Dan, who actually claims that he hates fighting. He hates all the preparation, and he's especially scared of losing afterwards. And you have to remember, he has a perfect 5-0 record, whereas Ricky has 10 fights and 2 losses. So, sorry, 10 wins and 2 losses. So, yeah, it is interesting that Dan does sort of think that way, and he doesn't really take this fight personally because he does like Ricky, and it is just a business thing for him. But I want to bring that up because I don't think I've really seen a lot of other Ultimate Fighter coaches really do that with their fighters, and it does help sort of build that connection and that sort of mentor-student sort of relationship, if you will. So, gonna really move on to the fight. But those are a couple of interesting things I wanted to bring up. Daniel's got more of a wrestling thing, Ricky's got more of a freestyle striking thing, so we're going to move on to the fight. We're going to skip the weigh-in because nothing interesting happens. They had a good weigh-in, they both made the weight. Let's move on to the fight. And the fight is goddamn incredible. incredible, easily the fight of the season, but let's try and unpack that. So, the two are very much moving forwards, going at each other, and there's so much like scrapping between the two. Ricky does initiate the firefight a lot, and Team Ortega does not want Daniel to stay in that firefight. They want Daniel to stay out. They want to push him where he needs to. They want to try and get a takedown where he needs to. Ricky's takedown defense is really good. He throws a lot of really good kicks. There's a body kick he lands in round 1. That's fucking vicious. Dan lands a really good leg kick at some point in round 1. They're both like trading really well. Ricky's going for the jab a lot more. Daniel's landing a hell of a left hook to counter. He's going for a lot more of the clinch work and a lot more of the takedown stuff. And Ricky's takedown defense is really good. There is a point where Daniel does sort of get a takedown on Ricky, but isn't really able to hold on to it long because I think, and I could be wrong about the fight that goes for it, I think Ricky attempts a guillotine, or at least there is... No, Daniel does attempt a guillotine after he sits too low on the takedown, both in rounds 1 and 3. But Ricky is able to stay calm and he gets out of it, and I'm really not doing a great job explaining everything in this fight, I know. But watch this episode for yourself if you haven't, because this fight is absolutely incredible. And round 1 was very difficult to call. I'm giving it slightly in favour to Ricky though. He came away with a lot more. His kick combos were a lot better. His unorthodox style made it a lot more fun too. Landed a lot of really good strikes, was just initiating a bit more, exiting a little bit better. His takedown defense was really good, but Daniel was not it was not one-sided at all. Daniel was there with him, landing a lot of really good strikes, landing a lot of really good leg kicks, going for a good few takedowns, actually getting one, keeping the pressure on Ricky against the cage. It worked for him, so we're going to move on to round 2. Round 2 sort of has the same sort of flavourings, but Daniel is a lot more aggressive with his takedowns and he's pushing forward a lot more. He knows that he can't really stay on the outside or even risk getting into a mid-range firefight with Ricky. So Daniel tries to push for the takedown a bit more. He goes for a lot more striking combos. He's landing a bit more to the body. He lands some really good leg kicks as well, but Ricky is countering with some leg kicks of his own, which does take away from Daniel's power. And the two, again, much like in round 1, just have an absolute war. Daniel eventually sort of has Ricky against the cage. Ricky does turn that around, and there is a point where Daniel gets a really good trip, I think, in round 2. It could have been round 1, I might have just missed it. But he goes for the trip, and they're in a unique position where it's sort of like a modified north-south thing. It looks a bit weird. But I think Daniel sort of takes round 2 with his aggression alone. He's moving forward a lot more, landing a lot more vicious strikes, going for a lot more shots, and yeah, he's opening up a lot more, definitely capitalizing more on the firefight, getting out a lot better than Ricky was in round 1, and looking pretty good doing it. However, the fight does go to a third round, which I'm really goddamn happy about, and we're going to go to that third round now. But yeah, round 1 in favour of Ricky, round 2 more in favour of Daniel, I think. Oh no, I forgot to mention that Ricky did almost sort of have a heel hook near the end of round 2, but he wasn't able to fully sink it in, so yeah, I thought I'd bring that up because I almost completely missed it. And finally in round 3, they do sort of start off striking. Ricky goes for a really good shot, but eventually it becomes sort of a clinch game, and Ricky has Daniel against the cage, and they sort of trip down. And Daniel initially has Ricky, but Ricky is able to turn it around and take Daniel's back, and he locks in a body triangle. And for the majority of this round, for the third and final round, he is fighting for a rear naked choke. He has the body scissors locked in with the leg instantly, and it's a really good move. And there was a moment where Daniel actually tries to reach for the foot and break it, and Ricky does a beautiful switch with his legs, and he keeps this going. He keeps switching with his legs back and forth, keeps squeezing tightly with them. He's unable to fully get the choke in until about a minute is left in the round, and and coincidentally in the fight. And he's sort of able to sink it in, but Daniel, it's just on the chin, because Daniel's got a pretty large chin. So he's able to keep the calmness there and break out, but he's on his back, and Ricky starts unloading on him with a lot of strikes until the round ends. And the fight ends, and we go to the judges' scorecards, and Ricky scores by unanimous decision in an absolute war. Seriously, watch this fight if you haven't, because it's really goddamn good. Ricky Turcios comes off as a likeable guy. Daniel is a hell of a fighter too. And there is a great moment where they both sat, down next to each other, sort of knelt down before the decision is made, where they're respecting each other, and Daniel even says, "Why the hell did we do that?" And that made me laugh, because it's nice to see a genuinely human moment from fighters who've just been through a war like that. And I love that shit, as people know. So all in all, I really enjoyed most of this episode. I wanted to see a bit more of a prank war going, and hopefully Volkanovski will be able to capitalise in the next episode. Absolutely incredible fight between Argueta and Turcios here. I've said it enough, but I'll say it again. Watch this fight if you haven't. Watch the entire episode if you feel so inclined to. And yeah, don't really have a lot else to add. I will see you probably tonight for a random gaming stuff stream, and soon after that, maybe tomorrow for an episode of Music of the Week, maybe a Fight of the Night review on Sunday, because there was an Ultimate UFC card last week. There is one tomorrow, so yeah. I don't really know how that's going to go. We're going to find out, and I'll see you whenever the hell I see you, most likely tonight. As always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye-bye.